Harnessing your creator archetype, unlocking the path from identity to impact. Today, this workshop is all about maximizing the impact that you can make through your brands. So I help Catholic content creators master storytelling and maximize the impact they can make on their unique audiences. That is my mission in one sentence, just like that, right? You understand what I do. I want you guys to get to the point where that's how quickly you can describe what you do. It completely unlocks a lot of opportunities because when you resonate with people really quickly, and some of you guys are doing that really, really well already. So we're talking about unlocking the path from identity to impact. We're going to talk about your archetype. The second stage is secure your mission. The third is activate your game plan. So keep rocking with me because this is going to be a lot and we're going to be moving pretty quickly here. So first, unlocking your archetype, we're going to understand the creator archetypes. You're going to develop your archetype map. Next, you're building a visionary narrative. Third, you're performing an authenticity audit. So first, we're going over unlocking your archetype. What is an archetype? An archetype in the context of psychology and cultural analysis refers to a universally recognized symbol, pattern, or motif that represents a typical example of a certain person, character, situation, or behavior. Archetypes are common across different cultures and societies. They serve as a fundamental building block of storytelling, mythology, and human experience, embodying specific traits, characteristics, and roles that resonate with the human psyche. So, the 8 Catholic creator archetypes provide a comprehensive framework for understanding the diverse roles and approaches within Catholic ministry and content creation. Together, these archetypes represent the multifaceted roles and responsibilities of Catholic creators, each contributing uniquely to the mission of spreading the gospel, nurturing faith, and fostering community in the digital age and in the world. They provide a system of understanding that acknowledges the diversity of talents, approaches, and focuses within Catholic ministry. As we went through the room, everybody had a different focus. I don't think there was any overlap, right? As you get into the heart of what people's missions are, it's so uniquely tethered to their story and who they are that it's going to manifest in ways that are just completely unique. That means that you can actually access a completely unique audience. That is news to a lot of people because they think I'm swimming around, I'm trying to reach the people I know I can help. But when you understand who you are really, really, really well, and you understand your story and the gifts and talents that God has given you and uniquely equipped you with, it can help drive you to reach that audience in a way that nobody else in the world can. So when we're talking about this, why does this matter? It's alignment with purpose. It opens up effective communication. It focuses your content strategy. It opens up impactful engagement. And there's also an element of personal growth and fulfillment of that call that God has placed on each of you to step into ministry and help others. All of these projects, they're not self-serving, right? You're in this work because you intend to help others. You have a call on your heart to reach out into society and improve society in some kind of way. So these are the Catholic creator archetypes. And as you can see, it spells Catholic, boom. And ChatGPT helped me with this. But I'm excited to hear y'all's thoughts after the workshop on this because this is obviously a working model. And so if you guys have ideas for me, which I've already had some really funny ideas that I love floating around, let me know and let's keep unpacking this together. Okay, so we have the Contemplative. Embodies introspection and spiritual depth, fostering peace and connection with God through reflective practices and meditative content. The Advocate champions justice, compassion, and social responsibility, using their platform to advocate for marginalized or specific communities and uphold Catholic values. The Traditionalist preserves and honors the rich heritage and traditions of the Catholic Church, promoting reverence for sacred rituals, doctrinal teachings, and historical practices. Healer offers compassion and empathy to heal and restore, addressing spiritual and emotional needs within the Catholic community through nurturing and supportive content. The Orator communicates and inspires through persuasive speech and compelling rhetoric, articulating Catholic principles with passion and conviction. The Luminary illuminates hearts and minds with profound insights and teachings that resonate deeply, guiding others towards spiritual growth and understanding. The Inquirer actively seeks truth and understanding through critical inquiry and exploration of Catholic theology, morality, and spirituality, inspiring others on a journey of discovery. The community builder, this is Kyle Whittington to a T, right? Unites hearts and forges connections within the Catholic community, fostering inclusivity, collaboration, and a sense of belonging through supportive and engaging interactions. And when I say inclusivity, I mean Orthodox inclusivity. So let's go deeper, guys. So you feel free to take any notes that are coming up for you that are your brand, that you're like, oh, boom, this is me. If you need to write any words down on your sheet, go ahead and do so. We're going to keep rocking. So we're going to go a little bit deeper. So the contemplative, the word bank on this: introspective, reflective, prayerful, serene, meditative, spiritual, seeker, wise, patient, thoughtful. Here are some examples. Brother Isaiah is a member of the Franciscan Friars of Renewal. He's known for contemplative music on his YouTube channel. Pray As You Go is a daily prayer session that offers guided meditation based on scripture, providing a tranquil space for listeners. So these are examples of the contemplative archetype. The advocate. So this is a person who is going to champion justice and spread compassion, a passionate voice for justice and compassion. The advocate archetype stands firm in support of social responsibility and the pursuit of equity, advocating for the marginalized and vulnerable. So these people are justice-oriented, compassionate, they're activists, they're altruistic, empowered, and determined. Some examples. Lila Rose is a prominent pro-life advocate and founder of Live Action. Jason Evert, is it the Evert is a Catholic speaker and author known for his advocacy work on chastity. So these would be two examples. And I'm sure as I'm going through these, you guys have some ideas that are coming up for you. Traditionalist. Now, I have a disclaimer on this one. Okay, let's talk. We're Catholic. This is not necessarily trad Cath, okay? Like when I say traditionalist for the archetype, I mean Catholic tradition, okay? So these are going to be your people that are doing Catholic apologetics, right? That are going out there and like, listen, y'all, there's a lot of misinformation about the Catholic Church. Y'all over here with your Catholic haters, like going in there, stepping into the conversation, talking about the Eucharist, talking about the sacraments, those sorts of things that are unlocking and opening the doors to people outside the Catholic faith to come and enjoy the Catholic faith in the Orthodox way. Does that make sense? Okay. I was like, I don't want people start brawling over this one, you know, because people have a lot of thoughts on that. Okay, so Dr. Janet Smith, she's a Catholic philosopher and known for her expertise in bioethics and Catholic moral theology. Okay, the healer. So with a heart overflowing with compassion and empathy, the healer embodies the gentle ministry of Christ, offering solace, comfort, and holistic care. So an example of the healer would be one of the ministries that I run helps women coming out of the occult, and they have demonic attachments often, or they're coming out of even demonic possession, and I work with them in hand in hand with exorcists and people in deliverance ministry to help them leave those worldviews behind, get anchored into the Catholic faith. So that would be an example of a healing ministry, because it's working with people that are in pain, they're suffering, they're traumatized, and helping to lead them to Christ. So orator, so persuasive, articulate, charismatic, inspiring, poetic, influential, convincing, captivating. As you guys can see, this is my archetype. I am the orator. This is what I do. This is where I live. I love public speaking. I live it, I breathe it, right? So I would guess that a lot of people that are podcasters, probably a lot of y'all in here resonate with the orator archetype for sure. If you get up, you like to speak, you draw people into the things you describe, and people get excited. That's the orator. Bishop Robert Barron is a good example of this. Jackie Angel, she's an evangelist. So I found a lot of these online. This was a good one. So the luminary, there's a little bit of a difference here between the orator and the luminary. And so I wanted to make sure that I was teasing that out in a way that made sense. So guided by profound wisdom and spiritual insight, the luminary archetype illuminates the path towards sanctity and understanding, sharing transformative knowledge, and empowering others to embrace the light of truth. So we're talking wisdom, visionary, insightful, illuminating. These are your mentors that are guiding people toward truth. They're thought-provoking, inspirational, and empowering. So this would be like Scott Hahn, right? I think he was a really great example of this. Mary Healy is a theologian. And so it's this kind of wisdom that really unlocks clarity, and it's empowering in a way that really makes a person go deeper into their spiritual life. The Inquirer. So this is the people who question. These are the brands that are bringing into question things that we need to shine a light on and look at. They're usually stimulating conversation around certain topics because they are shining a light of inquiry on something that needs to be covered. So these are going to be your curious brands. They're analytical, they're open-minded, they're investigative. So they're applying scrutiny into different areas and concepts. Matt Fradd, I would say, is a great example of an inquirer, because he will take certain topics and shine a light on it and lead the audience through a journey of discovery. That's your inquirer. The community builder. So this is the welcoming, supportive, they're collaborating, they're creating communities. And this is why I say Kyle is a great example of this. He pulled everybody together here to create this community environment. And so I would say he's an excellent example of the community builder. And then we have a couple of examples here. I love Sister Bethany, and I think she is a great example of really drawing community in together and just in love, with love and in love of our Lord. So, okay, I'm going to stop talking for a second. We're going to go to y'all. We're going to break down for a second. So as you guys have kind of been washing over with the 8 archetypes, you're now going to discover your top 2, okay? So we're bringing this down to your level, where now you're focusing on your brand, and we're talking about 2, okay? And we're talking specifically about your brand. Okay, so first things first, your identity archetype. So when you look at your sheet, at the very top of it, you have a blank spot there for identity and impact. So that's what we're talking right now. So the identity archetype, which archetype best describes your identity? So who you are right now. It's so truly you, it's in your DNA. So everyone would describe you like this. If your mom was in here, she'd be like, oh, they're this, which is a firm archetype that you embody, and it's going to help you arrive at the impact archetype. So the identity archetype represents which trait will help you achieve that goal. So the impact archetype, this is the vision. Where's your project headed? When you get excited about your project, you're like, this is what I want to achieve. This is where I want to go. That is your impact archetype. So this is your goal. You have your identity. This is who you are now. And then your vision. Okay. So this is objective and vision. Here are some examples. So for this one, like, let's say that you are a contemplative and you're impacting the world through your YouTube channel, where you're really drawing people into a deeper faith, right? That would be an example of someone who has an identity archetype of the contemplative, and they're using it in an impactful way as the luminary. Another example would be an advocate, someone who, so this is sort of the example I was giving with the academy, working with women coming out of the occult. This would be, I'm advocating for a marginalized community that needs help, and then funneling that into the impact of healing. The goal or the vision of that would be healing. Another example would be perhaps someone who's just at base level inquisitive and curious, and then they start a podcast, and so they're using their inquisitive nature and their questioning to go in and start a project where they're stimulating those conversations. Is this making sense? Is this landing? We're good? Okay. Do we need to go over more, or y'all get it? We good? Okay. So I'm keep walking. Okay. So traits, and I'm just going to break this down super easy. Contemplative, offering a path into the interior life. The advocate, offering a path for justice and mission-based action. The traditionalist, offering a path to celebrate the Catholic faith. The healer, offering a path for healing. The orator, offering a path for people to discover their callings. The luminary, offering a path for people to grow in holiness. The inquirer, offering a path for people to dig deeper into spiritual concepts. And the community builder, offering a path for people to connect with others. I'm just going to keep rocking because I think y'all get it at this point. Okay, so I'm going to put a minute or 2 on the clock, and we're just going to break down, and you guys fill in those 2 spots with your identity archetype and your impact archetype. And if you need to talk amongst yourselves as you're doing this, feel free. All right, guys, I'm actually going to keep rocking through, and we're actually about to break down again in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and get you to the next part, so then when we break down again, we can continue to unpack this. So the next thing that you're going to do is, when you look at the part underneath those 2 that you're filling in, you're actually going to be filling out the concepts within the archetype specifically to your brand for identity and impact. And you're going to then write down one goal that you have to better capture each archetype within your brand's mission. So here's an example. I laid it out for Story Catholic, which is one of my brands. And for identity, I am the orator and impact is the advocate. So on the identity side, the 5 points I make where I'm like, okay, how does this brand fit into this archetype? I'm releasing informative YouTube videos. I do motivational speaking. I do workshops and conferences. I share my passion for media. I inspire people to answer their callings for Jesus. What's the goal here? I thought about it. Okay, I want to continue to release relevant content on my YouTube channel to reach my audience and help people impact the world through their story-driven missions. So that would be on the identity side. On the impact side, I've said, okay, well, how does my brand fit into this archetype? I provide free offerings and tools. I equip my audience with roadmaps. I raise awareness about missions and efforts. I deliver high value, and I help my audience achieve their goals. So then what's my goal is to learn new ways to reach my audience and advance this effort so I can maximize my reach and achieve my mission. So what you're going to do now is you're actually going to do this for your identity and impact archetypes. So if you look at the box directly below, you're going to see a section here. Can I borrow this for a second? You've got a section here that says identity and one that says impact. So I want you to fill out 5 words or phrases that drop your brand into that archetype, and then just tease out a goal. Just write down a goal to really maximize achieving that in and through your brand now. So go ahead, and you guys can keep talking amongst yourselves as you're doing this as well. All right, we have 2 more phases to get through, so we're going to keep rocking. Obviously, you can keep working on this, and we can talk more about this. We also have a breakdown time at 3 p.m. where we can all talk more about this because I definitely want to hear from you guys. So, okay, we're going to shift. We're going into secure your mission now, and I just want you to rock with me. This is going to feel like a lot, but even if you don't get through this today, I want to equip you with this because let me tell you, this is mission critical. If you have not done this, it is my gift to you. Please do it. It will change your life. Okay, so we're talking about visionary narrative. Okay, what we're about to do is you're going to tease out with very quick, like precision with just a few words. Don't get wordy. Don't write a whole paragraph, right, yet. Who you help, and I want you to be as specific as possible, okay? You don't help women, you help be more specific. What kind of woman, right? So be very specific. What's their 0 state? Meaning, what do I mean by that? When they come into your brand, what state are they at? What are their pain points? Okay, so I want you thinking pain points. When they're at here, when they reach your brand, that's their 0 state. Where are you taking them to? Where's your brand taking them to? Okay, where's their hero state? You are not the hero of the journey. Your audience, they are the heroes of their journey. Okay, so you need to do that switch. You are the one coming alongside your audience to help them get from one place to the other. So then I want you to give 3 points, again, very, very quick, succinct, how to get there. What's the journey you're taking them on? How are you actually getting them from that 0 state to that hero state? And then we're going to do transformation in a second, so don't worry about that right now. So let me just give you an example, because I'm an example girl. And so for Story Catholic, we talked about the orator being my identity archetype. We talked about the advocate being my impact archetype. So who do I help? I help Catholic content creators with powerful testimonies and callings on their lives. What's their 0 state? They know they have a call to share and lead others toward Jesus. Often there's some sort of confusion or disorientation or overwhelm, sometimes even imposter syndrome. A lot of times it's just disorganization or like unclear, like having a lack of clarity. And then what's the hero state is confident in their mission and vision, making an impact on their specific audiences. So for me, impact is a huge word that I talk about when I talk about hero state, where I'm taking my people to, I'm taking them to impact their audiences. So how do I get them there? Okay. First, I help them fully understand their own story's unique attributes and foundations. That is step 1. That is the core, right? Then I help them master their own story. Then I help them create an authentic brand identity that captures their most resonant audience. Then I help them create their own unique framework that maximizes the impact they can make through media projects. So those are the 4 things that I do. It's step by step by step by step to get them from that 0 state to that hero state. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're going to put a few minutes on the clock, and then you guys are going to go through and do this on your sheet. Raise your hand if you're feeling good about this at this point for your brand. Feeling good? Okay, so for our next trick, let's go. We're going to talk about your visionary narrative statement. Okay. I, verb, person, action, so result. I'm a formula girl. I also like words. I like word formulas. They're very helpful. I like to make things as easy as possible. This is yes, there you go. Okay. So I help Catholic content creators master their stories so they can impact the world. So that is my broad visionary narrative statement. One sentence, it's very clear. You get the picture, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to do this for your brand, and you can start off broad, but then what you're going to do is you're going to go through the process of making it more specific. Why? It's important to do this so that people can, because that's a good statement, right? I help Catholic content creators master their stories so they can impact the world. What does it do? You have a lot of questions. You're like, okay, but like, what does that mean? Like, okay, good. We've landed a little bit, but like, how do you do that? Like, how do you help them master their stories? How do you help them? Right. It's good because it stimulates interest, which is a good thing to have it hit like that, right? It's interesting. But then it's important to bring specificity to that. So I can use both of these. I use these at different points. If I need a quick pitch and people are like, what do you do? I'm like, master your story, impact the world. Boom. That's it, right? But if it's like a more of a like chill conversation, like this is a great way to keep you anchored to your mission, right? And you memorize these, and so it's easy to just pull out of your back pocket, and it's an easy way to describe what you do. Okay, so this is my specific visionary narrative statement. I help Catholic content creators with powerful testimonies master their story's unique elements so they can develop powerful methodologies that maximize the impact they can make on their specific audiences, leveraged through media projects and advocacy movements. See how that gives you a little bit better of an idea of what I do, right? And so I think it's always important to kind of have both levels, because if you're like doing a bio on Instagram, mine's like, master your story, impact the world. Instagram bio, right? But if it's like a website, right, and you want a little bit more, I'm going to use that more specific one. Okay? So continue working. I know some of you are still working on the last one, but I just want to keep stacking this on top. So now you're building out your visionary narrative statement. And just as a little helper here, because I help people create these a lot, it can take some time to get this right. And so that's why I added a little third, like 1, 2, 3 sections on that sheet, because like with this, you'll probably write it and rewrite it and rewrite it. You'll try it out on people. And if they ask a question or if it's not clear, you're going to tweak this until you feel really good about it. And usually you'll know when it lands and you'll be like, that's it. And so you want to mess around with words for sure.
Who can I help? Young men looking for identity and purpose. The 0 state will be somebody deep in sin, purposeless, a lot of hurt. A hero state would be a purposeful person. Initially, I wrote confident, but I was like, no, I need something more better than that. And then I wrote humble, but filled with courage. And then servant-oriented, because I recognize that they need to come outside of themselves. It isn't just about being affirmed. It's about reaching there, your identity, your vocation, and then serving the world. How to get there, walk with them on their specific hurt, seek healing together. And then the 3, resilience. For some reason, I wrote resilience as because you need a point once you're affirmed, you need to stay there. Because often as men, we just relapse, which sucks. And then this next part, broad I affirm young men in their purpose so they can live their best lives. And then I brought my faith into it and I said, I affirm young men in their vocation so they can best love God.
Okay, can I work with this
Yeah.
for a second? Okay, so I affirm young men in their purpose so they can live their best lives. Live their best lives. We need more specificity to that. What I'm going to say for you, what I would recommend is to do some interviewing of your audience. I want you to interview 10 of them. And just ask them if you can ask them some questions. Just be like, hey, I'm building this brand. I really want to make an impact in this community. Is it okay if I ask you some questions? And then I want you to ask them what their pain points are, because I think you have some really good words here. Deep in sin, purposelessness, a lot of hurt. It sounds like you already really understand them. But what I want you to do is get their words, right? This is great. I can tell you've done a lot of work here already because you know them. What's great though is when you can get them to tell you how they would word it, and then you start stacking their words into your branding, because now they're going to be listening and going, that's exactly what I'm experiencing, right? And so you already, what I love here is that you actually already have a lot of clarity over your brand. And so you're to a good point where you can actually start interviewing now and getting like, because you already have the target. So I think that that's great. Also, I really love when you said walk with them on their specific hurt. So that would be another aspect you can interview on. Hey, what are some of the things that you're actually going through right now that you really need help on, right? And then that really helps you develop specific content around ways that they need help. And I love the word resilience. I think that's epic. In fact, that's like when you talk about brand identity words, things that capture, I think resilience really stands out as something that's very empowering. So I think that this is really, really a great brand that you're working with. So thank you for sharing. Yeah. Does anyone else want to share? When you choose to step into different controversies, there's a whole lot that goes around it. And so bringing in that journalistic integrity, understanding where, like, how to step in properly is really important, because if you don't have the network around you and the protection that you need, you can go and step into bombs and alone, right? This is something we all need to hear, right? We're talking about online ministry. You can absolutely step on landmines. And when we're talking about spiritual warfare, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, contending only against physical opponents, but despotisms and powers and master spirits, right? Exactly. So the level of care and intentionality and prayer that we have to apply to all of our ministries is extremely potent and real. And especially being Catholics, we are in a unique space because the enemy hates Catholics more than anybody.
You sounded like my good friend Christina.
Well, I mean, I've seen some stuff. Okay, I'm gonna get off that soapbox for a few minutes.
So I help seeker Catholics becoming radical and loving witnesses, so they find their peace, their purpose, and their people.
I love that. I love the phrase seeker Catholics. That really, to me, stimulates interest. It excites me. I think that the concept of the word seeker is very appealing, because it's indicative of a person who wants to go deeper in their faith. So I think that's a great word.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome. That's very like inspiring.
So explaining what I do when I am asked, which happens a painful amount, and I say painful because every single time I have no idea how to answer the question, what do I do? Because I do too many things, and too many things to explain it well concisely. So beyond, like I went into this thinking I was considering like my YouTube channel or one of them, and I realized I really need to make this more about myself as an evangelist and an operator, because it's too hairy to try to hit all the different stuff. So for me, the zero state was like an anti, non, or nominal Catholic. And feeling indifference or animosity towards Catholicism, worshiping the unholy trinity of me, myself, and I. And then the hero state was simply loving Catholicism and worshiping the Holy Trinity. But basically, it's an outpouring of my own journey, where I was cradle Catholic, left the faith, dabbled in the occult, became a Protestant, became an atheist, became a Protestant again, and then Catholic.
So we have the same testimony.
Okay, amazing. And so the reason I called it Awakened Catholic is because of the awakening of everything I had received in the gifts of my upbringing and the sacraments and everything, all that grace that like unleashed when I converted. So that's the nature of Awakened Catholics. I'm trying to facilitate that for other people. So the broad is, again, I'm so bad at this.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Facilitate an awakening to new life in Jesus Christ and the Catholic Church for anti, non, or nominal Catholics. Maybe that's not broad enough. Maybe that's one of the,
okay,
I don't know.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. So I would say the who you help. So when you're saying anti-nominal Catholics, that's actually who you help. Okay. Zero state is the state they're at.
Right.
See what I'm saying? However, I would say that you can probably get even more specific And I'm going to give you a little bit of a nugget here, okay? When you look, and this is getting into the deeper aspects of what I do, because what you're talking about, I help people do exactly what you're talking about, where you lay your story out, and there's a magical special point in your testimony, which marks the seed of your ministry, okay? So when you're over here and you're going, who can I help? You're like, I can help all these different people. Why? You in your mind, you're looking at all these different points in time in your story, right? But if you collapse that down to this one particular moment that was the most impactful moment in your life, right before Jesus started to call you out of whatever distortion worldview you were in, that's your sweet spot, okay? So I want you to narrow your focus on who you help. I want you to think about just one point in your journey, the you from the past at one point, okay? And when you narrow in on just try it out, because you can try out different ones, but I want you to redo this with just one spot in your mind. Maybe it's you when you were 23 at a certain point, whatever, but I want you to help that specific person. And then you go, that's who the person is. And then you tease out, okay, what was their zero state, meaning where were they at that point? Your hero state is fine. Yeah. I talk loud enough. I'm sure it's making it up. But the hero state, I think, is fine. Okay. So where you need to get clear is the who you help and the zero state. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because your hero state, you can lead them all the way to where you are now, right? Yeah. You have a lot of ways you can help them. But finding that point of that zero state.
Because like when I explained to you the background,
yeah,
I was like, wow, that's awesome. Like when I have space to explain it, it's a lot easier. But when I need like a quick one-liner, like that's
you got to do the work. But you got to do the work. That's what comes into what I do. You got to sit down. You got to do the work. You got to journal it out. You got to spend time with your own story, understanding who you are, because that's going to maximize the impact that you can make on your audience. Because you're not trying to help everybody. You're trying to help one really particular person. Okay. And we can talk more. We can absolutely talk more. But I think you're actually really onto something, and you're going to get it. You're going to get it. And the words on your hero state are really good too. Very compelling. Like you're already writing well. It's just that one tweak I think is going to really help you a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So let's move to authenticity audit. We have your strengths. This is what you do well, your gaps, what you're missing, and your opportunities. Yep. We got 3 minutes. Okay. Opportunities. These are your open doors. Okay. I like to put that on here because it's important to go like, where are the open doors? And then your plan is, I need to do these things. And let me give you a little bit here on an example. And so perhaps you're like, okay, I need to update my brand messaging across all platforms to reflect my visionary narrative. Perhaps you went and you got this visionary narrative statement. And you're like, whoa, this is really like sounds good. But I realize that there's a gap between what I have online right now and what I'm looking at on my worksheet, right? And so that's a good place to be at, where you're like, I need to go back online. I need to go through my stuff. I need to update my bio because this really captures who I am and where I'm going. And so let's get that done, right? So write that down here where you're like, I need to go do that. Okay. Maybe an answer here is that you need to develop a new content strategy that captures that transformation. Okay. Perhaps you need to understand your audience better, right? That's what Junior and I were talking about, right? So those are different things. So I'm actually going to, as you're kind of writing this out, I want to take a minute because we're closing it out here. I just want to say thank you guys for being here. This is only a taste of the transformation that you can receive with me. And so I'm just going to talk about myself for a second, if that's cool with y'all. So, okay. So are you looking at your project, fully aware of your calling, knowing that your passion, gifts, your talents, they're there, but you really need a roadmap to achieve the impact that you want to make? Do you struggle with what I call throwing content spaghetti at the wall, unsure of how to hone in on your unique niche so you can rise to the top of your conversation online? Did you know, and I've talked a little bit about this, but did you know that the key to success is to understand your story so deeply that you'll actually unlock the unique heart of your unique ministry that's so unique, no one else will ever touch it, right? That's the sweet spot. And I run an academy that takes out all the guesswork on this. So what do I say? I say your story's your legacy. And the Lord has given you a 100% unique testimony of redemption. If you're feeling the call to gain clarity and become a trusted authority so you can reach the people you're uniquely equipped to help, I can help you. So the Clarity Accelerator Academy is what I run. It offers a step-by-step approach that takes out all the guesswork in mastering your story to impact the world. So you gain clarity, you refine your unique voice, you actually develop your own framework that you can go and take out into the world. You can write books, you can do all the things, and learn exactly how to stand out as an authority in your, what I call, sphere of influence. You can apply by going to that QR code, and it basically gets you into a call with me, and we can talk about that more. There is a vetting process to get into the academy, but if it's something that you're interested in, we can talk about it. Also, if you run a team, like if you are, some of you guys run teams, you run bigger operations, and you think that there's value in this workshop for your team, we can absolutely talk about me coming and like giving this workshop to your team, because I had a couple people express interest in that. So you can get in touch with me. I put my email down there at the bottom. Thank you guys so much.